At the brand new home of the Matildas, a team who have certainly imprinted their legacy on Australian football over the course of the last year, the ParaMatildas now have a chance to replicate that feat. The #1 ranked team in the world will play their first match at home since their formation ahead of last year's IFCPF Women's World Cup in Spain against the Japan side. They have already met 4 times in their history. All 4 of them were Australia wins, including 3 of them in Osaka in September when the ParaMatildas went over to play in Japan. Welcome to day 1 here of the 2023 IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships from Bundoora in Melbourne. This is SBS's live coverage of both the men's and women's tournament. We're starting on the women's side of things with the hometown ParaMatildas, who will start their tournament against Japan. Oliver Walker-Peel is my name. I'll be here with you for all 19 games of the tournament across the men's and women's side of things. We will also have Matt Hearn, who will join later in the tournament. For today, we've got 3 games to have a look at. We've got Australia and Japan in the women's side of things to kick us all off. Australia's men's side, the Pararoos, will then face off against Thailand before Japan's men's side will take on world #2 Iran. They are the world runners-up, are Iran, and the Asian champions from 2018. But we'll start with the women's side of things, and we'll go to the lineups before both sets of teams make their way out onto the main pitch here at the home of the Matildas. And we'll start with Australia, who play their first match at home in their history. They will start in goal with #6, Caitlin Smith. The outfielders are #3, Talia Blanchard. #7 is Eloise Northam. #8 is Anne-Marie de Uriarte. And #10 is Georgia Bykoff. And for Japan, they will start in goal with #3, Miyabi Hamada. #2 is Mei Ota. #4 is Saki Kuroki. #5 is Miyuko Teiga. And #6 is Ayumi Takemura. As we get set for both teams to walk out onto the main pitch under what is a nice Melbourne day, a bit cloudy overcast with the crowd building up in the grandstand here at the home of the Matildas, a wonderful setup that has been built by the Victorian government here at La Trobe University. Of course, a lot of funding, and given how the Matildas went at the recent FIFA Women's World Cup, it is absolutely the least that they deserve, and it's wonderful that we're here at the new home of the Matildas. Absolutely wonderful facility too. And some of the best cerebral palsy footballers in the world will be set to ply their trade here and show what they're all about in what should be a history-making tournament for cerebral palsy football. I've got absolutely no doubts that it will be. And it all kicks off with Australia and Japan. 3 games of the 19 to take place today in what should be an absolutely wonderful tournament. And ever since it was announced that Australia would be hosting this, there's a lot of people, including myself, if I may say so, in the cerebral palsy football community that have just been counting down the days ever since it was announced, and now it's finally here. And everyone can get the chance to have a look at how good cerebral palsy football is. Of course, ParaMatildas set to take the field in a moment. That is Australia's women's team, of course, with people with CP, acquired brain injury or stroke, and of course the Pararoos are the men's equivalent. And the final games of this tournament, we've got both the men's and women's finals to take place later on. We've got next Saturday is the men's final, next Friday is the women's final. The women's final will kick off from 7 p.m. and the men's final will take place at 7 p.m. the same time on Saturday night. All games broadcast here on SBS On Demand. You've also got the 3rd place playoff in the men's side of things at 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, I should say, from the home of the Matildas. All games live on SBS On Demand. It's absolutely wonderful that SBS have got behind the tournament. It's an absolute privilege to be here. And soon all of the talking will be done, and the football can take precedence and take centre stage in front of a crowd that is very slowly building here in Bundoora. Of course, it always helps when you've got 2 Australian sides playing on the opening day. ParaMatildas playing, of course, first with plenty of fans, plenty of ParaMatildas scarves can be seen in and around the place, with a lot of green and gold, which is to be expected. And you just feel that if Australia can get an early goal and get the crowd on their side, it's going to be quite a wonderful place to be. Of course, Australia coming into this tournament off the back of 3 wins in Japan in September. Through a good World Cup in Spain last year, they finished 2nd behind the United States of America. They took the USA all the way to extra time before 2 late goals consigned Australia to silver, but in a first World Cup for them, an absolutely wonderful result and something that they'll be looking to build on for sure. As was mentioned right off the top, it's a 4-win streak for Australia over Japan, including a 6-0 win, which was the last time that they met on the 4th of September. They met also on the 2nd and the 3rd with big wins to Australia in both of them. They won 9-0 in the first game, 8-1 in the second, and then 6-0 in the third. All three of them took place in Osaka. And the only goal for Japan went to probably the danger player for them, Maya Ota, who will wear the number 2 for them, a 32-year-old player who can play up forward, has scored 7 goals in last four in the World Cup, I should say, as Australia, to a raucous applause, the substitutes make their way onto the bench. Got the pyrotechnics up and around here at the home of the Matildas, with the starting 5s for both sides set to make their way out shortly.
It is, of course, our CommBank ParaMatildas.
And the opening ceremony will also follow that in a few minutes. At about 10-3, the opening ceremony will take place. So Miyabi Hamada in goal, Maya Ota,
Number 4,
Saki Kuroki,
Number 5, Mayuko
Kaiga, and
6,
Ayumi Takamura.
Substitutes for Japan today.
And then Masami Ryochi, I should say, and Rie Ishihara are the substitutes for Japan. And for Australia, the substitutes
Look at the big screen and see who's lining up for our CommBank ParaMatildas.
Carly Salmon, the backup goalkeeper. Nicole Christodoulou is number 2. Karina Gregorian is number 4. Number 5 is Tamsin Colley. And number 9 is Ray Anderson.
Number 7, Eloise
As the
Northam.
Australia lineup gets announced.
Number 8, Anne-Marie Di Uriati.
How good is this?
And number 10, Georgia Bykov.
As the Australian players on the bench in front,
Carly Salmon.
getting ready to go.
Number 2, Nicole Christodoulou. Number 4,
course,
Karina Gregorian.
Be likely called upon later in the proceedings,
Number 5,
and
Tamsin
they'll
Colley.
have to be ready from when they are called upon, and
9, Ray
I'm sure they'll try and make an impact
Head coach of
when it is they're brought off the bench. And
Kelly Sturton.
of course, Kelly Sturton is the Australian manager leading it all in the women's side of things. Kai Lammert is her male counterpart. His Pararoos will take centre stage in just a couple of hours' time, but all eyes from an Australian point of view are glued to the ParaMatildas, and the hometown crowd will be hoping for a positive result, given how good that recent IFCPF Women's World Cup was. It's almost an expectant crowd here in Bandura. It was a wonderful World Cup. It started with a 12-0 win over the Netherlands, then it was the 4-0 win over Japan, 11-0 over Spain. They won the first 3. The next 2 were both defeats to the United States of America, and the only 2 defeats that the ParaMatildas have had in their history, albeit it's a short one. But the United States are the best team in the world, and if you're going to lose to anybody, I suppose you're never disgraced losing to the United States of America. Who are number 1 in the world. Thanks very much to that World Cup win. But Australia, in their first competitive match since then, will hope to prove a point and show why they are the best team in this Asia Oceania region. And with a crowd behind them, you'd hardly bet against them. If we move forward to the rest of the schedule, well, we've still got a minute for Australia. They will take on Nepal tomorrow at 6 p.m. on Sunday the 5th of November. Then they will take on Nepal. So I've got my... It says Nepal again on the 8th of December, but that's what the schedule in front of me reads. Not sure how correct that is, but that's what we're going with. They've got to play... Reads in front that they play Japan next and then Nepal, so In fact, of course, both teams will be played twice. Just getting my wires crossed, so number of times you'll get to see the ParaMatildas in action. Of course, the schedule has changed recently, but I think this is the most correct one that we have. It's Australia and Japan in the women's side of things, and then Nepal and Australia on Sunday night at 6 p.m. for Australia and Japan. On Tuesday at 1 o'clock before the Melbourne Cup horse race, and then Australia and Nepal a second time at 4:30 on Wednesday. So in the women's competition, all teams playing each other twice. In the men's competition, everybody playing each other once.
The officials and the teams of Japan.
As Australia and Japan make their way out onto the main pitch here at the home of the Matildas, and have a listen to this. Walking out to wonderful applause, and that'll be a hallmark of the rest of this tournament, I'm sure. This majority Australian crowd just hoping that one of their hometown teams can go all the way, and with the ParaMatildas having stars on every single line, it may well be them who will lift the couple off at the end of the week. A long way to go between now and then, but my word, how exciting it is to have two Australian teams playing on home soil. And for the ParaMatildas, it's the first time they will ever have the chance to do it. As we get set for the national anthems of Japan and Australia.
To perform a welcome to country, would you please welcome
first the welcome to country.
Junior.
Testing. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is an honour and a privilege to be here today. My name is Colin Hunter IV. I would like to start off with acknowledging that this afternoon we are on Wurundjeri country, home to my ancestors and now home to everybody here today. I would also like to pay my respects to both elders past, present and emerging, elders from all nations, especially all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members here this afternoon. Wurundjeri is a part of the Kulin Nation and of the Warong language group. Wurundjeri country extends from the inner city of Melbourne, across to the Great Dividing Range, west to the Werribee River, south to the Mordialloc Creek and east to Mount Baw. A big thank you to everybody who has helped make this event possible. Wominjeka, welcome, enjoy the game and good luck to all contestants playing this afternoon. Thank you very much.
We now invite those who are able to please be upstanding for the national anthem of Japan to be performed by Saira Tori.
君が代は千代にや千代にさざれ石の岩をとなりて苔のむすまで
We ask those who are able to remain standing for the national anthem of Australia to be performed by Maria Maroulis.
Australians all, let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. free. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing. Advance Australia fair.
Why wait to say? At least I did it my way. Lie way too faced, but in my heart I understand.
Just to confirm, that schedule is correct. So it's Australia first to play Japan, and then they'll play Nepal for the first time, then back to Japan again on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, and then Nepal for a second time at 4:30 on Wednesday. The three teams in this side of things are Australia, Japan, and Nepal, hence why everybody's playing each other twice, leading to 4 games in the group pool. And if you're in the top 2 at the end of the group, then you make it through to the final. Just to brush up on the rules for anybody who may well be unaware, it's 2 25-minute halves in this women's competition. You've got to have one FT1 classified player and one FT3 classified player on at all times, and it's 4 outfielders alongside the 1 goalkeeper, as the Japan side get a quick team photo before the game, and Australia will do likewise in just a moment or so. Big moment for the ParaMatildas, including the likes of Talia Blanchard and Caitlin Smith, both of whom have played all 8 ParaMatildas games leading into this one. And according to that team photo, we may well have a late change in the starting lineup if the photo is anything to go by. Nicole Christodoulou is the number 2 in there for Australia. Just a quick watch to see if she'll be starting or if she's just involved in the pleasantries. The starting lineup that was initially announced saw Blanchard, Smith, Northam, Duriati and Bykoff in the starting lineup alongside Caitlin Smith in goal. But Nicole Christodoulou has got the bib off, and so she may well be starting herself as the captains exchanging pennants in the middle. Australia's captain is their goalkeeper, number 6, Caitlin Smith, and for Japan it's Mei Ota. As the officials, their photos taken as well in the middle. And most of the pleasantries pre-match are now done and dusted, and we can start to get to the football. Australia, the number 1 ranked side, and the side that all the others will be trying to knock off the perch. That'll be easier said than done, but of course you can't count a side like Japan or Nepal out for that matter. They've got so much to go for.
Para-Asian Cup. I hope you go out there and smash it.
As we see on the main screen,
we're so proud of you. It's an
few
absolute honour to play on home.
messages from
So I hope you soak up your
players and the Matildas even, who have congratulated the ParaMatildas on all that they've done to get to this point and wishing them well. Claire Hunt and Mary Fowler among those who have sent videos congratulating what the Matildas have done, I should say, and also wishing them well for this tournament. Of course, the Matildas did so well in the Women's World Cup just gone, and the chance in this Para-Asian Cup for the ParaMatildas to do the same. It does look like we've had a very late change to see Nicole Christodoulou come in. It looks as though Anne-Marie Duriate is not out there for Australia.
1, 2, 3.
So the late change sees number 2 come in for number 8. So to confirm the starting lineup for you, it is still Caitlin Smith in goal. Number 2 is Nicole Christodoulou. Number 3, Talia Blanchard. Number 6 is Caitlin Smith, of course, who is in goal. Number 7 is Eloise Northam. And number 10 is Georgia Bykoff. And it will be Nicole Christodoulou who has been sprung into things at the very last minute to kick us off here and to kick the tournament off in this Para Asian Cup for 2023. And from now until the final, eyes are locked onto this tournament, and we are underway with Nicole Christodoulou setting us underway, and the ParaMatildas' quest to write a legacy of their own is underway as Caitlin Smith plays it up and over halfway. Northern back there had Takamura for company but was able to get away from it, and now Blanchard, who makes her 9th appearance for the green and gold. As mentioned, is one of 2 players who have played in all of the previous 8. A Japan throw from the far side at midfield. You can roll the ball in cerebral palsy football as well, which is what Japan have decided to do there with Hiroki, but it's been turned over. Early chance! And the first goal of the tournament, who else but Georgia Bykoff? A wonderful start for Australia. And it's her 18th goal, would you believe it? In her 9th appearance for Georgia Bykoff. Picking up from where she left off at the Women's World Cup. She scored 13 in 5 there. And she strikes early to give the ParaMatildas an early lead. A wonderful drive into the bottom right corner. And Australia are away. Smith clears it out of play.
Number 10, Georgia Bykoff. The scores are Australia 1, Japan 0.
And the applause from the crowd really says it all. Wonderful strike from Georgia Bykoff, who is a former Paralympian. Went to London 2012 as a javelin athlete, but now with the football at her feet is doing some wonderful things as well. Smith plays it up and over halfway for Christodoulou. Controls and ended up losing out. Ball will drift out of play for an Australia throw. So 2 25-minute halves in the women's competition, and the first half of Australia's tournament could not really have started much better. Northam looking down the line, stepping in was Kaiga. Australia had it back, but only temporarily. Ball drifting out of play for a Japan throw. Got a foot on the ball, but Japan move forward. Northern back there defending. Takamura taking it on the Japan right. Foot into the ball, but it will drift out of play. There's a slight bit of confusion watching along on the broadcast. We're going off the blue lines. Of course, this is the home of the Matildas, and they will have been training on this pitch, hence why the white line markings are there. When either they or the Melbourne Victory A-League women's team will be playing on here, as they do now, the new home ground of the Victory in the A-League women's competition. But we're working off the blue lines. Australia win it back in midfield. It's Bykoff again. Looked like she was being pulled back. Strong challenge came in from Ota, who keeps the ball in play. Played it against Northam. Blanchard looks to step in. Ricochet against Takamura, who'll work hard to keep it in. Couldn't quite get it under a spell, and the ParaMatildas will have a goal kick. It's played up and over halfway. Bykoff getting across again. Ota with a sliding challenge. All fair according to the officials. Georgia Bykoff certainly didn't think so. Did look as though on the replay that Maya Ota got the ball, and so we go on with an Eloise Northam throw. So this will be propelled long into the middle towards Bykoff. And eventually getting there, Hamada getting over the top of the ball. Across the tournament, it will likely be Miyabi Hamada and Masami Ryochi in goal for Japan. Different classifications between those two, with Hamada being FT2 and Ryochi being FT1, as it's thrown in quickly from Bykoff towards Christodoulou. Took it first time. And through to Miyabi Hamada, who took it rather easily. Only Japan left now is Kuroki. Through to Caitlin Smith wearing the armband, who, despite playing in goal, scored twice at the recent IFCPF World Cup, including a goal that won the Goal of the Year in 2022 as Blanchard looked to play quickly on the turn. Over towards the right-hand side, Northam moving inboard, playing forward, looking for Bykoff. Ball had too much on it, and now to play it goes. It's rolled in short, Christodoulou stepping in. It's rolled forward, looking for Takemura, heavy touch, and taking the ball. Her opposite number 6 in Caitlin Smith, who gets a warm applause. Throws it long, looking for Christodoulou. Back there is Ota, who did well. Talia Blanchard on the right-hand side. Plays now to play for a throw. Now a second one in rather quick succession. Blanchard got a touch. Ball drifting out of play for a corner. Holding one arm aloft is Kuroki. Ota's there in the middle. Went shorter. Kuroki might get a second chance, but Blanchard is over. Ball out of play for throw to Japan on the far side. It's rolled in short. Side of the football didn't quite work for Japan. As Bykoff only had a slight opportunity, took it on quickly. For the first time shot that Hamada spilled, and out of play it goes again for an Australia corner out of nothing. Northam takes it quickly towards the edge of the box. Bykoff's there. It's a second chance here. Georgia Bykoff on the right. Out of play it goes for an Australia throw. As the Australia substitutes start to warm up down away to my left. Thrown into the middle. Japan can't quite fully get it clear. Out of play high on the right-hand side. Northern rolls it in short. Christodoulou first time. Hamada able to save. Bykoff battling with Kaiga. Ricochet back to Christodoulou. Look for the first time ball. Ball from Ota drifting all the way through to Caitlin Smith. Every time she seems to get near the ball, garners an applause from the crowd. Wonderful player, so you can't go against that either. Because she's so wonderful in between the sticks, but is also capable of scoring goals when you need her to as well. Be a hard matchup for opposition coaches, I'm sure, trying to manage who deals with the long balls forward. When they do eventuate, as Australia will have a throw high on their left-hand side with the goal scorer, Georgia Bykoff, who throws it in towards the middle. Looking for the volley was Northam. Would have been wonderful if she got it to work, but couldn't quite. Christodoulou keeping it in play, not quite. As long as she would have liked, and Japan will have a throw. Japan have it on their left-hand side. Firing the shot on goal was Takemura. And Caitlin Smith down smartly to her right to make the stop. As Christodoulou gives chase, but not even Nicole Christodoulou could run that one down. Out of play for a Japan goal kick. Sent high from Bykov. Hamada watching the ball, but was well off target in the end. That's the thing with Georgia Bykov, though. We've seen it once already. She only needs a split second and she can shoot from range and make you pay out of absolutely nothing. Certainly a player that Japan and Nepal will have to watch across the duration of the tournament. Kaiga had it taken away from her by Georgia Bykov, who can get going as Christodoulou forward of the ball. Wants Nicole Christodoulou. Good bit of goalkeeping by Miyabi Hamada, who wasn't worried for herself at all. Only wanted to claim the ball, and claim the ball she did. Did it very well. Goal kick long will stay in play here for Kuroki. Goes in towards the middle. Early chance in the tournament for Takamura, who's had a couple of looks at goal early on in this game. But in the end, couldn't quite steer it on target. As Blanchard goes down the line, chesting down Christodoulou out of play. And towards Kaiga. Back there is Northam. To play it goes high on the Japan left for ball in from the side. As Blanchard looked to step in. There's a judge that it'll be an Australia ball on their right hand side. Flicked on by Christodoulou for Bykov, who played it against Ota. Kept it in play. Bykov keeping the pressure on. The ball won't roll out of play. That's crossing out of play for an Australia throw. Northam sends it in towards the middle. Japan get it clear, up and over halfway. Not a bad run from Kuroki, but stepping in there was Northam and doing it well. Blanchard back with her. Bykov again. Just up and over halfway. Her shot was blocked en route to goal. They will have been able to pick it up on the cameras. Kelly Sturton disappointed with a lack of a call there on what she thought should have been a free kick. She thought should have been a free kick, I should say. Sent in the middle towards Blanchard, who couldn't control. Thrown in quickly. Japan with a chance through Kaiga. Good defending back there from Northam. They just had to make sure. Japan, once they've got up and over halfway, have shown some really promising signs early on in their tournament. And while Australia have the opening goal in the game, it is worth a mention that, of course, as we've said a number of times, it's 4 wins in a row against Japan for Australia. And when you look at the recent results, they've been rather one-sided. And so Japan so far can hold their heads high. There's a long way to go in this game as Northern sends it out of play for a throw. Tiger threw it in, but only as far as Caitlin Smith, who will take the ball for Australia. Sent it long up towards Northern, but out of play. Goal kick for Miyabi Hamada, part of Esperanza in Japan, one of a number of players with Esperanza. Goal kick wasn't the best, only found Blanchard. Look for the through ball for Christodoulou. We'll go back to find Northam. Look for the shot with the left foot. Blocked away and out of play. That's Australia taking a little bit of time, just deciding who's going to get the ball back into play. Will be Nicole Christodoulou just to roll it in. Was looking for Bykov, but was not enough on it as Caitlin Smith brings it forward. It's only just off target, you know. And that's exactly what Caitlin Smith can do from as far out as you can be. She's got a good strike on her and so often can find the back of the net. Has 3 goals for her country, including one away in Japan in September. So they'll know exactly what she's capable of as Kuroki goes forward, marauding down the Japan left, plays it in board. The strike on goal came from Takamura. And another smart stop from Caitlin Smith. Just look as though Ayumi Takamura will be Japan's best route to goal. Well, she has been throughout the opening quarter of an hour of this game. Scored once in 3 at the IFCPF World Cup in Spain last year. Bykov, it's the floor, got back up, played it forward. Northam in space, went first time. It's a good save from Hamada. Eloise Northam there with perhaps more time than she thought. But for a first time effort, it wasn't a bad one. Good save though from Hamada, who, as well as playing in goal, can also play outfield. Scored a brace in Japan's World Cup debut against Spain last year. Played it long forward. Takamura played it back into her own half. Northern forward from long range. Hamada was off her line, but in any case, that one was well off target. Blanchard under hits. Stepping in there was Ota, but Caitlin Smith able to spare a few blushes. Another Australia throw on the way, with Eloise Northam, who is from New South Wales. One of a number of players representing Australia this week who are from that part of the world. There's a number in this squad as well. Long ball forward from Smith out of play with the likes of Georgia Bykov, Ray Anderson, and Marie Duriarati, who was named in the starting lineup for today, but didn't take the field at kickoff. Also with uncapped defender Tamsin Colley and Karina Gregorian as well. Blanchard. Now Northam on the right for Australia. Looking to run down the right-hand side. Ball's gone out of play for a goal kick. It was a good bit of marshalling there from Saki Kuroki, who herself scored at the World Cup in a win over Spain. And played every game in that tournament. She's the only player not with Esperanza in this women's squad for Japan, playing for CP Kobe in Japan. So Australia will have yet another throw with Northam. Decides to roll it in. Was slightly behind Nicole Christodoulou. And Japan will bring it in from the side once more. Rolled down the line. Getting their first Takamura, who couldn't keep it alive. Blanchard, heavy first touch, but she did well to win the ball back. Japan with a good spell of pressure here forward of halfway for them. Kuroki rolling it in short. Blanchard stepping it in and seeing it out of play. As we move right towards half-time. Blanchard again with another tackle. Hiroki rolling it in short. Takemura on the Japan left. Back there, Northern, once then twice. Blanchard helping out in the corner. Lifts it up towards halfway. That was clever. Bouncing ball. Christodoulou a chance all the way through to Hamada. It's sent up and over halfway by Hamada. Getting across to thought Takemura's movements forward were once more Eloise Northam, who has had some start to the game. Losing out there is Kaiga. Chance for Baikov, first time again, straight to the goalkeeper. Hamada doing very well to get her body behind it, but just shows that Georgia Baikov is willing to have a go from just about anywhere on the pitch. Chant you can hear around your living rooms, and heard it all throughout the Women's World Cup as well, that of course Australia went to the semi-finals in and finished fourth. We've got it here in Bundoora as well. Bouncing ball just in front of Baikov. Christodoulou in the middle, a chance! Was in space and put it off target. I'm sure she'll think that she should have done better from there. Very talented player, Nicole Christodoulou, and someone who is capable of finding the back of the net. Has got 5 in her previous 6 caps for Australia. Couldn't quite make it 6 from 7 there. So it went through Talia Blanchard. Japan moving forward again. Northern back there. Out of play off Talia Blanchard, who is a rather easy player to spot with the hair colour that just about matches the boots. That's a foul throw, and Australia will have it back. It's the odd adage that you've got to play well if you want to wear them, and play well she often does. Thrown in from the side. Headed on by Baikov towards Christodoulou and out of play. Takemura again down the left. Northern marshalling, and out of play goes for another Australia goal kick. Big day of IFCPF action here on SBS. One of 3 games, this one. With Australia's men's side set to take the field straight after this one. They'll take on Thailand. Ota, just back of halfway. Goes into the Australia half, has a look and wasn't far away. Japan's most notable goal scorer in this side. Coming close again for a team. Certainly one that Australia will have to watch. She was in a fair bit of space there and nearly drew the game level. Ota first time. And Caitlin Smith just watches it go. Ball towards Baikov, who couldn't quite reel it in. Takemura gets it away from Northern. Christodoulou helping out. And still she goes, Nicole Christodoulou. Prods it across. Here's Talia Blanchard. We'll give it back to Nicole Christodoulou. First time of asking shot was blocked, as the second time. Baikov, great defending. Wonderful stuff there from Miyuko Kaiga, the 21-year-old who just got her body in the way, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And she's doing at one end what Eloise Northam is doing at the other. So to look to watch it go, it's gone out of play for a goal kick. Just under 25 gone here at the home of the Matildas in Bundoora. And while Australia lead, I'm sure that Yukio Jin, the coach of the Japan team, will be happy with what he's seen as it's played across from Northern. Christodoulou arriving, but flashing her shot wide. And that would have been a wonderful end to the half for the Matildas. Well, ParaMatildas, I should say, at the home of the Matildas. As 1 minute is signalled by the fourth official in terms of added time. Heavy touch from Blanchard, almost allowed Takamura in. As Caitlin Smith sent it long and out of play for a Japan goal kick. She's had a couple of looks at goal, and I'm sure that her opposite number in Miyabi Hamada will have to keep a watch on that, and she certainly won't want to be beaten by her opposite number. Christodoulou in from the side, thrown in towards Bykov, who nods it on. May well have struck the arm of Saki Kuroki, but play goes on. Northern looking to roll it across. Couldn't quite get it through to Bykov. May well have been a very late whistle from the side. But a free kick has been picked out. We've got some top quality officials here at the IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships, and when you've got the level of officials that we've got here, you go with their every call as it's sent across by Northern. Bykov arriving, saved onto the post. Northern going again, but putting it just wide. It's some save right at the end of the first half from Miyabi Hamada, and that is the final action of the first half. Hamada slow to rise to her feet, but it was a strong hand behind the ball to tip it onto the post. Would have been a wonderful end to the half for Australia. They couldn't quite get the second goal they so craved at the break here at the home of the Matildas. It's Australia 1, Japan 0. Here as part of SBS's coverage of the IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships. Part of a triple header here on day one from the home of the Matildas here in Bandura. It's Oliver Walker-Peel here with you. After this game, we've got the Pararoos in Thailand, and we've got Japan's men's side taking on Iran as the Australia players make their way towards the dressing room. And a warm applause from all siding with the green and gold. We'll be back just after this. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side of it, we'll have a look at the highlights and get set for the second half here from Bandura. Welcome back to the home of the Matildas here in Bandura for this IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships here from the home of the Matildas, and it's the ParaMatildas, the hometown ParaMatildas, that lead in this first clash in the tournament. They lead by a 1-0 thanks to a second-minute strike from Georgia Bykov, whose wonderful, wonderful hit is the difference between these two sides. It looks as though Australia are set to make a change for this second half, and it looks like we'll be seeing Karina Grigorian for only the 4th time in her career for the ParaMatildas. Didn't go to the World Cup, but went to Japan in September, and she will replace Nicole Christodoulou, who was very late into the team for Anne-Marie de Uriarte, who was named in the starting 5. Didn't take her place, and now Nicole Christodoulou's place has been taken by Australia's number 4. So we get set to go for the second half of this IFCPF Women's Oceania Championship, Asia Oceania Championship clash. Game 1 of this side of things and game 1 of a triple header here on SBS On Demand on day 1, with the Pararoos set to take on Thailand next. That'll get underway at about 5:15 before Iran will square off against Japan's men's side. Can the ParaMatildas pick up from where they left off at the end of the first half? Had a late chance to Eloise Northam. If they can find a second goal in this one, nerves will surely be eased, because Japan gave as good as they got in that first half, and a couple of chances of their own as they get things underway for the second half through Yumi Takamura. Clearance forward was blocked, and there's a statement of intent from Australia. ParaMatildas straight back into it as Grigorian went over with Georgia Bykov to block the clearance.
Nicole Christodoulou, she's been replaced by number 4, Karina Grigorian.
Goal kick taken quickly, only as far as Northam, who looked inboard then for Blanchard. Given away by Northam. Chance maybe here for Japan. Takamura couldn't quite get it under a spell, and out of play it goes for an Australia throw, who got a little bit lucky there. Thrown in long towards Blanchard. Will eventually get there, Talia Blanchard. Helps it out wide here for Northam, who will look to have a run at Kuroki, who had her measure. Ball stayed in play. Well played from Northam. Blanchard slightly behind the substitute Grigorian, who was first called into a ParaMatildas training camp in February, although wasn't selected to take the plane to Spain. So Japan unchanged from the side that started the game. They still have Hamada, Ota, Kuroki, Tiger and Takamura. Australia now with Smith, Blanchard, Northam, Grigorian and Bykov. Kuroki to roll it in shorts. Takamura looking to help it across. Tiger crowded out of it. Australia ball on the way from the goal scoring Bykov. Looks short for Grigorian. And it looks as though Australia will be ordered to take that one again. Given away. To make our way forward, Takamura, who was clipped there by Eloise Northam. And a free kick on the way for Japan. Among the officials in this tournament is a former Premier League referee, if you don't mind. Keith Shroud, who last refereed a Premier League game in 2015. almost 8 years ago to the day, in fact. It was a game between Watford and West Ham at Vicarage Road. 2-0 win for Watford that day. It's got a former Premier League referee in amongst the officials here in Bundoora. There'll be a free kick here for May Ota. All them standing in the wall, having a look. There was Ota, parried away by Caitlin Smith. Out of play it goes for a Japan throw. I'll tell you what, Japan have shown some really good signs so far in this game. It's rolled back in for Ota, who sends it high up and over the bar. But Caitlin Smith has had to make a couple of very good saves, and that one not a bad one either. Right-footed ball from Ota, and Smith unable to catch it, but it was helped out of harm's way as Gregorian had it taken away from her by Ota, but only out of play for a throw. That will go the way of the ParaMatildas. Northern in a bit of space. Gregorian at the edge of the box. Towards the middle by Bykoff, looking for Northern, who couldn't quite control. Takamura in behind, getting across there, Bykoff. Over the ball, Caitlin Smith, who was named the best goalkeeper at the World Cup last year, and showing why here as Northern looks to rolling Gregorian. Heavy first touch, and there wasn't a chance for her to have a second. Because if she'd have got to the ball, you'd have fancied her to make it 2-0 to Australia, but it was a good bit of goalkeeping by Miyabi Hamada to make sure that she wouldn't be allowed the opportunity. Blanchard playing the ball out of play here for a corner. The 21-year-old Mayuku Kaiga over to take. Towards the middle, looking for Ota. It's away from her. Blanchard looking forward for Gregorian. Ota back there. Kuroki playing forward. Northern, he looks to take it by Japan's number 4. Gregorian to work it forward. Ran straight into Kaiga. Quick shot was well off target. And again, how many times have we said it about Georgia Bykoff? Any inclination of a half chance, and she looks to try and make the most of it. Blanchard. Way through to Hamada, who was part of Esperanza's Club World Cup squad in 2022. They are the best club side in Japan, are Esperanza, hence why so many of their players are playing here. They have been a part of the last 2 Club World Cups in 2022 and 2023. As Blanchard looks to battle with Kaiga. All drifting out of play. Thrown in towards Northern, we've got head to it. Just unable to direct it on target. Australia certainly able to create chances. The next goal in this game is ever so crucial. If Australia are able to get it, then you'd think that they would be able to see the game out. If it's Japan's goal, the next one, then it's game on. Gregorian on the turn to play it across. Bykoff towards the middle, but there again is Hamada. Sent it long. Goalkeeper to goalkeeper. As Caitlin Smith takes the ball. Sent long towards Northern, who couldn't quite control inside the area. Marder, headed away by Blanchard. Smith able to get to the ball as Kuroki was looking for a strike on goal. It's the clash between Gregorian and Ota. Substitute able to rise to her feet. It's a fair clash live, but good to see that both players are able to continue. Hamada sending it low. Blanchard working it forward. Northam. Chance here for Bykov in space. Good first touch into space. Shot on goal straight at the Japanese custodian, Miyabi Hamada, who is now having a fair bit to do. Every time she has been called into action, she's done very well. There wasn't a lot she could have done about the only goal of the game so far. It's gone to Georgia Bykov as Australia's number 10 is caught on it. Kaiga tight to the corner flag. Out of play for a Japan throw. Look to engineer a quick shooting chance, but Caitlin Smith wasn't to be beaten from there. Gregorian loses out to Takamura. Gregorian back there to work the ball forward. Here's Northam, who runs up and over halfway, gets past the second challenge. Here's Northam, what a run! Couldn't quite end it with a goal. Would have been absolutely wonderful had she been able to pick out a corner, but in the end put it straight at Hamada, who adds there to a collection of good saves so far in this one, and really telling saves. Because if it had not been for her, you sense this one could be even more one-sided as it's sent long in the direction of Ayumi Takamura, the 24-year-old unable to run it down. It looks like we will now see Anne-Marie Diuriati come on. Just wait to see whether it would be allowed in that break of play, and it is. As Australia's youngest player in the squad will have a run. Already scored 7 goals in 3 previous appearances and takes the place of Australia's number 7 in Eloise Northam. All 7 of those goals coming against Japan, by the way, for those playing along at home.
Substitution for the CommBank ParaMatildas, coming off number 7,
There's
Eloise
Diuriati,
Northam.
looks to roll it in
She'll be
behind.
replaced by number 8, Anne-Marie Diuriati.
As it's sent long, here's a chance for Takamura, who got to the ball. Doesn't have much by way of support, has to do it alone. Helped away by Diuriati. And we'll have it in from the side. Takamura. Ball ricocheting. It almost breaks in the middle, could be a chance. Getting across quickly was Smith to deny Kuroki. Almost a very fortuitous goal for Japan, but one they certainly would have taken. As Diuriati rolls it forward, Gregorian gets past one. May well have a chance to shoot. Good closing down from Ota. Still with Gregorian, who was then looking for Diuriati. Out of play for an Australia ball from the side. Bykov throws it in for Diuriati. Looking to help it away was Ota. A chance there for Diuriati to work it forward, but in the end, the ball back with Japan. Australia look to work it down the left-hand side. Crossfield ball didn't quite work for Australia. And Georgia Bykov. It's rolled in short. Takamura to the byline and over the byline. For a split second, she'd done well to get past Blanchard, but just couldn't keep the ball the right side of the blue paint. Battle for the ball in midfield. Takamura took it away. Blanchard getting across and putting the challenge in. Takamura has stayed down. Play goes on with Bykov, who gets away from Kuroki. Rolls it across for Duriati. Rolls it go from outside the box. Able to make the save was Hamada. Back to her feet now is Japan's number 6. Another former Paralympian who went to the 2020 Paralympics that eventually, of course, took place in 2021 as a 400-meter sprinter. Smith, outside her area, rolls it over towards the right-hand side for Blanchard. Duriati pass one, inside the area, great run against the post. Didn't quite break for Gregorian. And I'll tell you what, that would have been some goal. Anne-Marie Duriati off the bench and almost right into the goals. Nearly an absolutely glorious goal, but not to be. And it's taken almost 40 minutes of play, but the Aussie, oi, oi, oi chant finally gets a run around Bondura. As the ball goes out of play for the Japan throw. Anne-Marie Duriati, who scored her first goal for Australia as a 15-year-old back in September. As the least experienced player in age by some way. Almost showing everyone exactly how it's done. It's sent long, pedaling for a moment there with Smith, but she got enough behind it. Throw almost sold Bykov short. Foul by Kaiga on Australia's number 10. She will now get to her feet. Looks as though Japan are set to make a change. They've got 2 substitutes and only 1 outfield substitute named today. Rie Ishihara will come on now for Japan, wearing the number 7. And she will take the place of Ayumi Takamura.
Japan coming off number 6, Ayumi Takamura.
Who has been a real presence up forward. Has Ayumi Takamura in a couple of chances where she's got in behind the Australian backline. Wasn't able to take any of them, but she's had a good game and one that she can be proud of as Smith sends it long. Off the chest of Hamada and out of play for an Australia corner. Spike off to the edge of the box for Duriati, who will have a look. Again, saved by Hamada. Who is putting herself right in the frame for player of the match honours. The Japan goalkeeper sent it long. Blanchard able to control. Ball out of play. Bykov quick to take the throw. Looking for Gregorian. Appeals for handball, waved away. Ishihara on the right-hand side here for Japan. Blanchard making the challenge, then going at the ball. Across the cover is Oto, sent it long. Australia will have a chance to try and work it forward. Duriati looking to cut inside, but can't quite make her way past Kuroki. Australia, maybe with some defending to do here. Ishihara, and as far as Bykov, will go all the way back to a goalkeeper. Duriati looking for Gregorian. Blanchard even wider. Sliding in was May Ota. Blanchard to bring it back in. Quick shot on goal was just wide from Georgia Bykov, who has spent the majority of this game playing in defence, but given her international footballing CV of what is now 18 goals in 9 games, you can never counter out of finding the back of the net. Sent long by Hamada in the direction of Ishihara. Out of play for another ParaMatildas goal kick. Rolled down the middle, looking for Gregorian. Ota only had a split-second look at the goals, but that didn't deter her from having a shot. Shot went wide in any case. Cutting it out, here's Kaiga. Doriati winning it back for Australia. Gregorian, who has Doriati with her. The ball was in that direction, couldn't quite find her. Doriati stepping back in, shooting and scoring. Australia's lead is doubled. And doing the damage is their youngest player in the squad. Anne-Marie Doriati giving Japan a footballing lesson. Did well to fire the shot from just outside the box. And with 5 to play, that's probably the result signed, sealed and delivered. And now Australia wanting more. Here's Bykov shooting and almost giving Australia a second goal in a blink of an eye. And if there was any tension regarding the results a minute ago, emanating around the home of the Matildas, may well have been lifted by that goal. Was the Young Player of the Year at the 2022 National Para Championships was Anne-Marie Doriati, and forced her way into national thinking, and she's doing well on the national stage now. Ota, first time ball, Smith off her line, but able to get a hand up. Looking to play it from the back quickly, but may have been a little bit too quick. Looks like Australia will be making another change in a moment. We'll get back to that in a minute when the ball goes out of play, as Hamada sends it long. And across the byline will be Ray Anderson for her 6th cap, set to make her way on. And it will be a Japan change as well, with Masami Ryochi set to make her first appearance at these Asia Oceania Championships, as Talia Blanchard makes her way off.
Should be replaced by number 9, Ray Anderson.
And it'll be goalkeeper for goalkeeper,
Also for Japan, coming up
with
number 3,
Miyabi Hamada. Let's make her way off.
By number 1, Masami Ryochi.
And Masami Ryochi set to come on. 49-year-old goalkeeper is Masami Ryochi, also of Esperanza. Sent long from Smith in the Gregorian direction. Ota across to try and cut it out. Also to help it out of play with just over a couple of minutes to go in the 50. Australia on the brink of starting their campaign with a win. Nice ones here. Here's Doriati again, receiving it back off the 1-2 from Gregorian, combining very well. It's out of play for a corner. Anne-Marie Doriati looks like a player that will be part of the ParaMatildas setup for years and maybe even decades to come. Got her best football in front of her, and she's showing that here as Anderson takes the corner short. There's Bajkov! What else can you say that hasn't already been said about this ParaMatildas marvel? An outstanding first-time finish into the top right corner. That's 3 goals and 3 points for the ParaMatildas to start their Asia Oceania Championships campaign. And their first game on home soil in their history will be crowned with a win.
The score is now CommBank ParaMatildas 3, Japan 0.
A second goal of the game for Georgia Bajkov. And that's even given that she spent most of the time behind the ball. Australia looking for a fourth. Duriarti's first touch got away from her. The ball just drifted out of play. It's now 19 in the green and gold for Georgia Bajkov. Duriarti plays it in towards the middle. Japan will help it away. And it must be said that so much of this game has gone right for them as Smith takes a pot shot. When you consider 4-0 loss at the World Cup, then 9-0, 8-1, 6-0 in the previous clashes between these two sides. This has been some effort by Japan. As Bajkov now on a hat-trick, working her way forward, looking to be unselfish. Duriarti back to goal. To take it in field. 1 minute at the end of the second half in added time, indicated by the fourth official.
1 minute.
Sent away by Caitlin Smith out of play. And the wonderful thing about this Para-Asian Cup or the IFCPF Asia Oceania Championships, whatever way you want to word it, you can see para players on the back of shirts now. There's plenty that you can see in and around Bundoora. A few sporting Bajkov 10 and how happy they'd be at the moment as it's thrown in quickly. Japan maybe a chance for a consolation as it's played out of play. Doing the defending there for Australia was Anderson as it's thrown in towards the middle. Back there is Georgia Bajkov who will help it clear. Allowed to play off Duriarti. Played over the 1 allotted minutes at the end of the second half. Final whistle imminent. And there is the final whistle. The ParaMatildas, playing on home soil for the first time, have won on home soil for the first time. A result that was set up early by Georgia Bajkov, scoring inside 2 minutes. She added one very late in the piece as well. And in the middle, there was a goal, a strike from Anne-Marie Duriarti. 2 goal scorers, but 3 goals and 3 points for Australia to open up the campaign. And the feeling around Bundoora and around the home of the Matildas is absolutely palpable. A winning start for the green and gold in this tournament as handshakes and pleasantries are exchanged. And this wonderful feeling, I'm sure, can be felt not only here in Melbourne, but also right around the country from wherever you're tuning in from. After a wonderful campaign for the Matildas at the recent FIFA Women's World Cup, the ParaMatildas are looking to make a legacy of their own right here, and they've started it with a win. Wonderful to see smiles from both sides and handshakes. Australia the better team on the day, but Japan by no means disgraced themselves. Had a number of wonderful chances, and while they couldn't score, It was wonderful to see them play to the best of their ability, and we'll see them a number of times now across the tournament as we move towards the highlights that'll come on the screen in just a moment or so. And we'll start with Georgia Bykov's first goal. Japan a little bit loose just inside their own half. Heavy touch, and that's all Georgia Bykov needed to crash it home into the bottom right-hand corner inside 2 minutes. Miyabi Hamada, who was in between the sticks for Japan for most of the day, had a wonderful day, making a couple of brilliant saves. That one from Eloise Northern. In the end, Australia's resistance was able to be showed as towards the end of the first half. Mate Osa forced a good save out of Caitlin Smith.
Off mic just then, and the atmosphere here
Kelly
today
Sturton
is
will
superb. Just to be, can you take us
speak
through
to
the past week has
the
been
MC
like
into the media, and we'll throw it
be
down
here
to her
in Melbourne,
now.
And obviously to play in front of a great crowd as well here at the home of the Matildas.
Yeah, the girls have been working super hard this week. We've had a nice relaxing week with a few training sessions, but playing on home soil is fantastic, especially when we've got an amazing crowd lifting the girls up. Japan definitely made us work today. Credit to them, but no, it was a good game.
And in terms of looking towards the next 8 days, can you take us through, I guess, the immediate thoughts and feelings of being able to play in Melbourne, in Australia, on home soil against some really quality opposition like Japan, the likes of Thailand, Iran, who have all travelled, Nepal as well. Just, what's the vibe like in the group at the moment as well?
Yeah, I think we're on a high. The girls are always pumping their music and, you know, dancing around. So I think we're a pretty good vibe at the moment. We'll just have to see what the next 8 days brings.
Well, Kelly, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put your hands together for our head coach, Kelly Sturton.
From the players to the fans, and the fans to the players. And we will bid you farewell for just a few minutes time. Well, it's basically an hour now, just under an hour. We'll be back for Australia's men's side, the Pararoos, and they will take on Thailand. That game set to get underway for about 5:15 here on SBS On Demand. For Oliver Walker-Peel and the rest of the Sportscast crew, that's game one of 19 down, 18 to follow. Stick with us on SBS On Demand across the whole tournament. 2 more games to follow. See you back here at 5 p.m.